Alright, so really quickly the slides, and everything is linked in these slides, so I'll do the links, if anything. Okay, lesson 1, just basically going over what weather is, to activate prior knowledge. We'll have students draw what they think weather is, and then narrate their drawing. And it says post on Seesaw, but they can also do it on the Explain Everything app. There's a website that has an interactive map that shows what students can do, or not what students can do, excuse me, what weather can do to different parts of the world, how it looks different in different parts of the world. So this map, again, like you can do precipitation, air pressure, wind, temperature, and cloud coverage. So even right now, if we did this unit, now we could even show the students how it looks, rain and cloud cover wise, on Texas, and you can see Hurricane Harvey and just the devastating nature that hurricane has. Tropical storm as well. Fortunately, it's not loading as quickly as I'd like it to, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out. But it's a really good map, a really good tool. Okay. Lesson 2 is water in the air, humidity, and precipitation. So we'll have guiding questions displayed throughout the lesson, these 3 in particular, which will be on the next slide. And then students will participate in a thirsty sponge activity. And basically this activity just helps students really see how water can be held in something and still be wet, but it doesn't have to be raining. So this is the slide that I would keep up during that activity with these 3 guiding questions for students to reference back to during their activity and to think about while they're doing the activity. Alright, lesson 3 is types of precipitation. Here I'll show the class how scientists collect and measure precipitation. I have a YouTube link which will show how you measure rainfall and the different types of precipitation and all that. Okay, the next lesson we have is precipitation, clouds this time. So there's a cloud and bottle experiment. Students will record, observe, make predictions, etc. in their digital science notebook, which can be accessed through their Google Science Journal app. Here is a video link for that experiment, and I mean it's self-explanatory. It basically just shows the instructor how to make this cloud in a bottle experiment successful, the tools they need, and all, etc. This is just a link for the actual website. If they didn't want to watch the video, this shows how to do it through instructions. Okay, we're still continuing lesson 4. Then they'll read the cloud book and discuss that as a class. Then they'll explore this cloud website. I really like this website as it's really good at differentiating for students who may not be able to read as well as other students. As you can tell, it has audio. So,
cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus clouds look like large
as you can see, students will be able to listen to it as well, so that those students who may not be at a high reading level will still be able to get the same amount of information that those who are reading it do. Okay? So then what they'll do is they will pull pictures of clouds from the camera or the internet, use the Explain Everything app to narrate a slide explaining the cloud definition and type of cloud. Here is a YouTube link showing an example of that, one that I created myself. And this is, I would plan on using this as a form of formative assessment for the students, as they're able to be creative with that. Next we have wind and air pressure, lesson 5. This is a flipped lesson. Here is the link to the video that the students will need to watch before they enter the class the next day, because the next day will just be full of activities.
Hello, class.
This video is about 10.5 minutes long. I would like to make it shorter and a little bit, just better all around. But basically, students will get basic information about wind and air pressure, and then they'll move on to the activities the next day. So one of the activities we have is the pressure activity, and essentially what this does, this shows students that although we're adding more weight to their hands with textbooks, they won't feel any added pressure in their feet the same way that air pressure works. You may not feel air pressure, but you will definitely notice the effects that it has on you. Another activity that we'll do, they'll be able to create their own anemometer. Here is a link to show how to create their own anemometer. Very easy to do. I just don't have the materials for it, which is why I did not make one. Okay, next in this lesson, they will be able to create a new tool that helps measure air pressure, wind direction, or wind speed. Again, they will use the Explain Everything app to create this tool and then narrate how it works and what it does. This will again be another form of formative assessment. The next lesson, collecting weather data. Here is a link on how scientists use different weather instruments to collect weather data. Again, it's just another YouTube video, starting about 43 seconds in. Just goes over what the instruments look like and kind of how they are used. The cool thing with this flipped lesson is that when they get into the classroom, they will be able to decide which activity they want to do in any order. So, excuse me, that's with the wind and air pressure lesson. That's not this lesson, the collecting weather data. Excuse me. But anyway, with this collecting weather data, they will be able to get this weather chart, and they will be filling it out as a group, in groups of 3. Ideally, these 3 roles are photographer, so they'll take pictures of the weather that day, data collector, collect data for the group on the assigned day, and a reporter will report the information on the group's seesaw, report basically what they saw. And then the students will rotate their roles each day. And these groups will be kept through the rest of the unit. Alright, the next lesson is hazardous weather. This could be a very long lesson compared to the others since there are so many different types of hazardous weather. But the end goal for this is for students to be able to determine what regions will house the different types of hazardous weather. For example, the Midwest region kind of has, they're known for tornadoes. So they would need to know things like that. This is one of their PBLs. So what they'll do is they'll create a product or something to help limit or eliminate the damage that hazardous weather can do to their houses or anything like that. Here's a YouTube link just showing and explaining the different types of hazardous weather. I'm not going to go through the ad though, so we'll move on. This is a link on basically just an example of what one might look like. And it's me. I just drew like a farm and the crops, and it's a platform that takes crops down. Okay, the next one we have is climate. Based off data given, students will determine different climates. This website shows all the different climate zones, what animals and vegetation you might find in those climate zones, and just different facts about them. That's the website I would prefer kids to use when researching and trying to find what their mystery climate is. This is, for me, a form of a summative assessment. I will take this for a grade. They will be able to use the clues to determine what type of climate they were given, and then answer the other questions, which are different animals and different vegetation you might find. Now, as a fun formative assessment and exit ticket, students will be doing a Kahoot. Now, I don't know if this one will be logged in already or if I'll need to log in, but basically it's just a Kahoot, good, on climate, and basically just 5 questions, and the winner will be able to go to recess first or something like that. Okay, lesson 9 is interpreting weather data. Here we will discuss the importance of using graphs, why scientists need this information. Then they'll create graphs based off the weather collection chart from lesson 6. Here they will do this individually. They don't need to get in groups to create this graph. And it will be created in their digital science notebook through the Google Journal app. Alright, the last lesson is weather forecast. So here is a clip showing a weather forecast. This is to show students just in general what it looks like, what things they need to put into their project at the end, and just different things to talk about, different vocabulary they can use. So basically what they're going to do, it's like a second PBL that I have planned for them, and what they'll do is They'll create, film, and then share their forecast for the following week. Students will take the data from the weather charts and create a forecast for the following week. They should include weather maps, weather backgrounds, unit terms, and ideas. Props will be provided, for example, a pointer, a green screen, and other items that will aid them in creating their forecast. So this basically just takes everything that they've learned up to this point and putting it into a project where they can have fun, be creative, just really get those creative juices flowing within their groups. And these will be the same groups as their weather collection data. So hopefully groups of 3, maybe 4. Alright, so those are the slides that shows, again, everything that we needed. Flipped lessons, assessments, PBLs. So this is my unit redesign. Essentially, it's the same things that I have on my instructional slides. Just kind of goes into a little bit greater detail of what instruction's going on, what student activities will be going on, the different level of blooms that we have, and just different assessments that instructors could use throughout the whole lesson. Again, I mean, there's really nothing new on this redesign, unit redesign, that isn't on the PowerPoint slide already, or excuse me, instructional slides. So they won't really, like I said, see anything new. It just kind of goes into greater detail of everything. You see the standards that I have, the essential questions, all that good fun stuff. And again, everything that we needed I had already linked, I had already showed throughout this presentation, but all the artifacts that we had should be on there. So thank you for taking time to listening to this. I do appreciate it. Yep, thanks.